Hi, welcome back to Real Reviews. This is Cody Williams, and we're talking about the movie Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. It is a brand new adaptation of the classic line of survival horror games, ranging through the first few games. We did have a rather lackluster line of live-action films helmed by Paul W.S. Anderson, even though I will admit that I did enjoy the first two movies. Those films were heavily criticized by many, including myself, that they did not actually follow the games. This new film, however, is an attempt to alleviate that issue, so this should be very interesting to see regardless. The movie story follows the booming home of pharmaceutical giant Umbrella Corporation, Raccoon City, which is now a dying Midwestern town. The company's exodus left the city a wasteland with great evil brewing below the surface. When that evil is unleashed, the townspeople are forever changed, and a small group of survivors must work together to uncover the truth behind Umbrella and make it through the night. This movie was just so painful to endure. Yeah, it's more accurate to the games to an extent, but at a cost of something. Anyone want to guess? Anyone? Yeah, it was production value that was so painstakingly awful. So awful, in fact, that it feels like a movie that has the equivalence of quality to that of a straight-to-home video film during the 90s. I will say that there were some good ideas thrown around, but obviously the film's production value holds it back. There are some aspects about this movie that I actually do like, so let's talk about that right now. What I do like the best about this adaptation was how it captured the ominous atmospheric landscape from the games. As the film went on, you could definitely feel that all sense of hope was gone. With a dark and bleak cinematography combined with some iconic set pieces derived from the first two games, it was actually astounding to see it cinematically transferred. It was pretty spectacular seeing the Spencer Mansion, the orphanage, and the Raccoon Police Department as the main focal points as far as the set locations go. Special effects wise, I would have to say that everything practical looks fantastically well done, but when it comes to the CGI, there are some questionable moments. That is until you get to the last few moments of the film, where you can definitely tell where a good majority of the movie's budget went to. I will admit that it's nice to have a Resident Evil movie that is faithful to the games. It has plenty of fan service scattered throughout, and it was nice having beloved characters transferred over into the film. However, everyone looked completely nothing like their video game counterpart, with the exception of Claire Redfield. That character was the only one that was handled perfectly, but everyone else was terribly miscast and butchered. When it comes to the fan service alone, I thought it was a missed opportunity to not feature some of the iconic pieces from the game's soundtrack. I just think it would have been neat to have that thrown in, but that's just me. When it was announced they were amalgamating the events of the first three games together, that was a big red flag for me. There's only so much you can do within a span of an hour and 47 minutes. So the pacing was so erratically dreadful. Even during the movie's opening, I was immediately bored because it doesn't add much of anything that the movie represents. As far as other discrepancies go, the plot feels non-existent, and don't even get me started on the cringe-worthy dialogue. I get that the filmmakers wanted to appease the die-hard fans this time around, but the movie's execution could have been drastically better. Even though I wasn't expecting much while going into this movie, I was still let down, unfortunately. Overall, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City is rather a forgettable film that I'm most likely not going to remember by tomorrow. It's sad to say that I would rather watch the first two Paul W.S. Anderson Resident Evil movies than this poor excuse of a film. This is not a downright terrible movie, but it's mediocre at best. I give this movie a C-. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Keep up with my real reviews.